Good evening. Welcome to your City Commission meeting. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. Meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 at 7 p.m. and midnight and available for viewing on YouTube and Facebook Live. First item is the call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Okay, first item on the agenda, old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes. The minutes are in your packet. Do you see any changes or additions need to be done?
No.
If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from November 23rd, 2021 regular meeting and December 7th, 2021 special meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Martin?
Aye.
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 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item, second consideration ordinances. Second consideration ordinance 8181, acquisition of land by condemnation for K7 and Eisenhower intersection improvement project.
Madam Mayor and Commission, there have been no changes since the first reading under the November 23rd meeting. As a reminder, this relates to the improvement project that the City of Leavenworth and the City of Lansing are working on at K7 and Eisenhower. KDOT has indicated to the city that we must move forward with these proceedings in order to put the project out to bid. We still hope to resolve the matter without going through the full condemnation process, but this is the next step in the process.
Thank you. This one, any questions or comments?
No.
If not, this one requires a roll call vote. Please begin voting. Commissioner Hengula.
Aye.
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 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item is new business, public comment. Items not listed on the agenda or receipt of petitions. Public comment is limited to 2 to 3 minutes, and no action will be taken by the commission on public comment items. Anyone care to make a public item on anything that is not on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you. Next item, general items. Number 3, nomination for terms, December 14, 2021 to December 13, 2022. The first item on here is the mayor, and I'd like to say before I get to that I have enjoyed being your mayor for the second time this past year, and I will hold my comments to a later date, but I really appreciate being able to interact with the public as mayor. It's an honor. It's an honor to serve. It's an honor to serve the citizens of Leavenworth, so thank you for that. So what we have here is, do I have a motion for Mayor December 14, 2021 to December 13, 2022?
Madam Mayor, I move to appoint Kamala Leavenworth to Mayor December 14, 2021 to December 13, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Yay, yay, aye.
Aye.
You've been elected. Now, we will change places.
Okay.
We should plan this better before, but we didn't know you were going to be elected, you know.
Yeah. Let me get all my paper.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Madam Mayor.
These, yes.
Thanks. That's what she's going to talk about tonight. Okay. All right. Hello.
Oh, my purse is over there. Okay.
Okay.
Just get situated here. Sorry. I'm left-handed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you all for coming. We sure do appreciate your support. I'm a native of Leavenworth, Kansas, And I'm excited to serve as your mayor in the upcoming year in my hometown community. Focusing on teamwork with my fellow commissioners, city staff, and all of you, which is the foundation of our community to even make it better. My goals are street maintenance, improvement of the wastewater plant, and to create even more walking and bicycle trails. And also to our projects that we already have started, see them come to life. So furthermore, the journey is not afar. The journey is here and now, and that is together. Thank you.
Oh, look
Okay, so now it looks like we're going to open the floor up for nominations for a motion for Mayor Pro Tem, December 14th, 2021 to December 13th, 2022.
Madam Mayor, I nominate for Mayor Pro Tem Jermaine Wilson.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, and so begin voting with Griff Martin.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
It's passed. Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations.
Well, I just want to thank God, my community, my family. Hey, together, let's continue to make a difference. There's been some great changes taking place, and I'm just excited to be part of the change. But none of that would be possible if it wasn't for you all getting out, going to the polls, letting your voices be heard, but most of all, being the voice of change. So thank you all for the support, and thank you to the commission for this appointment. It's an honor to serve you all once again. God bless.
Okay, so now, let's see, I open it up for a motion for a financial claims reviewer, December 14th, 2021 to December 13th, 2022.
Madam Mayor, I move to appoint Mr. Griff Martin to become the financial claims reviewer for December 14, 2021 to December 13, 2022.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hingle.
Aye.
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 Okay, congratulations.
Thanks very much. I'm a numbers guy, so I'm looking forward to that.
There you go, there you go. Okay, and let's see here. Now, we have, right now, we're gonna go into a regular session. We have a full agenda. So, at this time, I mean, everyone's welcome to stay, or this is your chance that you can leave.
Oh, please stay.
I mean, if you want to stay, stay. Thank you, thank you.
That's your other sister. I met your other one.
Oh.
The other one.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to give him a minute.
Support, yeah. I'm about to say that.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. Yeah, man.
I was gonna say some more, but this is her.
Hands are
I'll
cold.
say more next week.
I gotta hold ice in my hand so I stay cool. You see it, I'm having to put up my towel here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yep, let's go ahead.
Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, the next item is consider abatement of administrative fees on nuisance special assessments, 911 Cherokee.
Madam Mayor and Commission, our city clerk, Carla Williamson, will handle the next 4 items.
Good evening. First of all, I'm going to check to see, is Mr. Richter here? Okay.
I'll go ahead and introduce the item, and if Mr. Richter, you want to come on up to the podium, they may have some questions for you, and you can comment. On December 9th, Mr. Richter submitted a formal request to the city clerk asking the city commission to consider abating some administrative fees on the property located at 911 Cherokee. Mr. Richter purchased the property at the April 28th county tax sale. At the time, there was a lien placed on the property for nuisance abatement totaling $1,617.21. At the beginning of the tax sale each year, potential buyers are always told at the sale that there may be some liens from the city for mowing and nuisance, and that they should be aware of that when they purchase the property. In the past, the city commission has considered these requests and has granted some reduction in fees for similar situations. The actual cost of the mowings is attached there. A lot of those, the high dollar amounts are because of those administrative costs, which are a progressive cost. The first mowing or nuisance abatement is $100. Then it goes to $250, and then $500 each additional one. So that's why some of those fees are so large. But what the commission has typically done in the past is looked at the actual cost of the mowing, what the city actually paid for that, and then at least one $100 administrative cost just to cover the cost of filing and staff time, which is more than $100, but at least just that little bit. So if the commission would want to consider, that would be one option. And that would reduce it down from $1,617 down to $217.21. Mr. Richter does own the property next to 911. He owns a house, and then there's two other lots, and then this one on the corner that he just recently purchased.
Okay.
And he plans to keep the property mowed and groomed. So at this time, if the commission has any questions for myself, or if Mr. Richter would like to make any comments, but the action would be the commission can deny the request. You can reduce the special assessment as stated by staff, or you can come up with maybe a different amount that you might want to consider.
I don't know what this is. Okay.
Sorry, Carla, we have an echo.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm going to close that door real quick
Yeah,
so we don't hear.
Oh, it's closed.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, is it that other door?
there it is.
Now it's good.
Okay, I didn't have any questions. Did my fellow commissioners have any questions for Mr. Richter? Or do you have anything?
No, I brought the property just in April of this year, and the previous owner passed away in a house fire across the street from me.
Okay.
And she passed away, and then it kind of went south, taking care of it and stuff. So I found out it was in the tax auction, so I decided to go down there. Since it's connected to my property, I figured it would give me a chance to take care of it instead of it just kind of making my property look bad. So-
Right.
So I bought it in the auction, and then I got a tax bill this year, and of course I was surprised, because normally, those little lots are usually $20 to $50, and I got a tax bill for $1,800. I was like, oh. So I was not aware of that. It was my first time buying property like that, so I wasn't really for sure. But I bought it in April, and I've maintained it since then.
Okay.
I didn't know the city was even taking care of it before that, or I would have started mowing it for her since she passed away, but as my neighbor. But
So they don't, excuse me.
Yeah,
Madam
you're fine.
Mayor. So they don't disclose at the tax sale what the lien is on the properties?
So they do make it clear that there may be liens, and it's the prospective buyer's then responsibility. But as Mr. Richter
They'll
said,
know
if
before.
nobody has purchased stuff at county tax sales, they often don't
He wouldn't know.
know to
Yeah.
do that. However, it is stated that, there could be liens or taxes against a property.
Okay.
Okay. Did any of my fellow commissioners have any
No,
questions
I
or
see no
anything?
problem with reducing the cost. So I'm
Okay.
in favor of
Need
reducing the cost.
I need a motion?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay.
sorry, I'll make a motion to reduce, cost on
Okay.
that.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengula?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you,
5-0. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Cost
Yep.
is $217.
Yep, 21721.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, you're welcome, sir. Thank you as well.
Thank you. Okay, next up is consider abatement of administrative fees of nuisance special assessments, 1517 9th Avenue.
Okay, and I'll just check, is Mr. Graves here? Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll go over this one, the same type of thing. He purchased it at that same tax sale.
Okay.
There were nuisance abatements totaling $1,769.85. That was the lien on the property at the time. When they purchased the property at the tax sale, the filing of the deed doesn't happen until, it was like May 25th and 26th was the time that the county said that they got those transferred and those deeds recorded. So the city did do 2 additional mowings during that time where we didn't know that there was a transfer of the property. So those mowings are also listed on the breakdown that's in your packet. So the total of the taxes for this property were $2,166.41. Of that, $1,950 is administrative fee. So again, if you're following the same formula, it would be reduced down to the actual cost of the mowing, which was $216.41, plus that $100 helped cover some of the cost. So $316.41. The little depiction here, Mr. Graves does own the property adjoining that on the corner. And the picture does show that there's a house on there on the GIS that I did. It's a vacant lot now. That house has been demolished, so it is vacant.
Okay.
And Mr. Graves says that the family tends to maintain it, and it's currently being used as a garden. He can give you any additional information on that. But again, the commission can deny the request, could reduce it down to the suggested from $2,166.41 to $316.41, or come up with a different amount that the commission would like to see.
Okay.
I'm glad to see people taking property and fixing it up,
Right,
using it,
even as, using it as a garden, right?
getting rid of blight, so I'm happy.
Did you have anything you'd like to say, Mr. Graves?
Oh, yeah, my wife would tell me, never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. So with that, I would like to say one thing. We bought the lot, and the participation in the sheriff's sale was under 50%. Under 50% of the properties get purchased. And I think the public has an impression when they see the tax sale book get published that the properties will be actually cost much more to buy because of the liens associated with either the $11,000 of demolition or the penalties, which $500 a mowing, if it's been vacant for more than 2 years, you hit the $500 mark. So it adds up quickly. And so a lot that's only assessed at $6,000 suddenly looks like it has a purchase price of around $23,000, as in the case of the lot I purchased. I purchased this lot for $20 or $30, and the auctioneer had to stop me because I kept raising my bid card. And he said, "Sir, you're bidding against yourself." So with that being said, I do want to make a suggestion. The penalties themselves, I think, only dissuade the public from participating in the purchase of the properties. The mowings themselves, the city is charged $23.48. And so I think what you're dealing with, the property owners, when they foreclose these properties, they abandon them. They walk away from them. The process that you go through for 5 years to address this adds up considerably with the amount of mowing, the nuisance complaints, the trash, all the things that happen. And so it's a problem that even though the policy may be abated, it's not fixed. And may I suggest, reconsider your policy on how you deal with these foreclosed properties and advertise them at a more reasonable, without the fines, the heavy fines, the $500 per instance. Because neighbors would buy these properties if they thought they could afford them. My intention is to buy several more, so I'll be back. And we have a nonprofit for community gardens. And so that's what we do, we set up gardens.
Okay, very nice.
And you know, the problem that you have, if you have 2 more years before you have a tax sale. So you have all these properties in that tax sale book, at least out of the 100 or so properties, you got 50 that you've got to mow for the next 2 years at your own expense. And then something like this will take place in 2 years, and you'll see more people like me and the others tonight asking you for an abatement. But if you want more participation, it has to be more attractive to the buyers who feel they can then afford it. Because I spent more the night before buying dinner at Bon Tai in the lot. So I appreciate your consideration today, but I did want to make that suggestion because these lots don't need to be vacant for the next 2 years, the ones that weren't sold.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graves.
Yep.
Did my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Graves,
Yes.
before you run off, is this lot that you bought, is it outside of the fence that's
Yes.
around your property?
Yes, it is, sir.
Are you going to include it in the fence, or you
No.
said it was for a garden, it's a
I'm doing
community
a garden.
garden,
I'm
so I
doing-
assume it's going to be left
For
open?
legal reasons, for insurance reasons, it's a separate property that's going to be maintained by the nonprofit for the garden, but it's me and my wife.
Yep. Good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Ready for motion?
Yep, I just need a motion.
I move to approve for the commission to reduce the 2021 special assessments on the property at 1517 9th Avenue from $2,166.41 to $316.41.
I second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengula.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0, pass. Okay, next one is consider abatement of administrative fees on nuisance special assessments, 617 Middle Street.
And is Mr. Hedrick, okay? So this one, the same thing, purchased at that April tax sale. Before the, no, we know that it's always announced. Let's see, I'm gonna get to the nitty-gritty on this one. So this one was, there was a large tree, or there was a tree on this one. So when you're looking at the breakdown of costs, there's one that says mowing cost, it should say nuisance abatement. It wasn't, it didn't cost us $500 to mow that. There was a tree that had fallen on that, so it was $500 for a tree removal. So the
Makes
city,
sense.
yeah, so that's what that one was, the cost of removing that tree. And then $39.98 was a mowing. So that happened in May of this year. So this one did not have a lien on it at the time. It was just in that May timeframe, while, after she bid on it at the sale, but before, the deed was filed. So, that's the amount that was on there, is the $739.98. So again, staff's recommendation, if we follow the same guidelines, is the actual cost to the city plus $100, so that would reduce it down to $639.98. And again, on the picture here, they do own the house and the property next to this, and the 617, it is vacant. Again, that one was demolished, so there is no house on that property.
Okay.
And they plan to build a fence, extend the backyard for their children to play.
Yep.
Any additional comments you'd like to make, or
Mrs.
questions?
Hedrick, did you have any?
Whenever we purchased the house in 2018, we noticed that the lot next to it the house had just been demolished. So we waited, and it was on one tax sale, and then it disappeared, and we waited a couple more years, and then it popped up again, and we got really excited because now we have 2 kids. We have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, and we have the really tiny backyard right now. But So I think I called the guy maybe 3 times with questions on how the tax sale worked. So I did know there might be like the mowing fees, and I thought it was just gonna be like the mowing fees. I didn't like understand about all the fees that surround the mowing fee as well. So when I got the bill, I was like, what? But I mean, I do understand now, but yeah, that's why I'm here, just for the consideration.
Okay, did my fellow commissioners have any questions for her?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay, I just need a motion then.
Well, I move to reduce the 2021 special assessments on the property at 617 Middle to $639.98.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Griffith. Martin, sorry.
That's okay, aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you sharing.
I know. Okay, consider abatement of administrative fees on nuisance special assessment, 51 Logan Street.
Okay. And Mrs. Gepner, she purchased the property again at the same sale. There was a lien placed on the property at the time of $1,647.12. And then the property was mowed one additional time in May before the transfer of the property. So the total on the tax bill is $1,796.16. Following the same calculation, the actual cost of the mowings, plus $100, would bring it down to $296.16. On this one, the property was purchased to revitalize it, however, they were unable to complete it due to some costs. And so the current owner, the plan is that they are going to sell the property to a developer. So I'll let Ms. Gepner answer any other questions or add anything else you'd like.
Did you have
Sure,
anything?
I'm very fortunate. I get to be the last one of the lot to go. But I echo what the gentleman before said, kind of about reviewing the process and kind of the surprise to some of us. And I actually didn't find about these fees until we've actually gone to close on the property to transfer ownership. So like she said, I actually bought there's only one home actually that went up for sale at the tax auction. The rest were just lots. And we thought we got a good deal on it and we could, revitalize it, but, you buy it sight unseen. And it'd been vacant for 6 years, it'd been broken into many times, and it was full of trash, and just took a lot of work, and there's a lot more that needs to be done to it, and we don't have the time or the money to do it. And so we were actually fortunate enough that we found a developer that was interested in buying it. Unfortunately, he can only pay us half of what we paid for it, so we're taking already a huge loss on it. And so I'm just really trying to help lessen that load. The neighborhood has been great. We've met many of the neighbors, actually. They grew, it's a very tight community, and several of them are family members. And we actually, since we've owned it, we've hired one of the family members to mow it. So it's always been maintained since we've owned it. All of these fees are prior to our ownership. Just thank you for your consideration.
So is you said you have someone in the process of purchasing it?
Yes, it's been a long process to close. We've actually been under contract on it since August. But when you buy a home at the tax sale, it doesn't come with clear title. So you have to go through a pretty cumbersome clear title process, which comes with also associated fees that I didn't fully understand. But we're through that now. We have clear title, and this is kind of the last order of business to get finalized, and we hope to close before the end of the year. But they hope to come in and rehab the home and then sell it, would be their plan.
Okay. Did anyone have any questions for Ms. Gepner? Did you have any?
No.
No? Okay, then I just need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to reduce the 2021 special assessment on the property at 51 Logan Street from $1,796.16 to $296.16.
I second.
Begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0, passed.
Before you move on, can I just
Yeah.
ask a question?
Sure.
Now, on these, because, I understand why we're doing this on these properties, and these are properties that they get, they don't know what the lien is on it. But this follows a rule of all of our properties in the city of Leavenworth. If they are a nuisance or they need to be mowed, then we mow and we charge for that. And we're paying for that, or our citizens are paying for that. So, this is not a special circumstance just on these properties. This is on across the board, correct?
Right, so the city issues 2 mow contracts a year. One is a mow contract, both done by bid process, for supplemental mowings at our city parks. Code enforcement, or the city planning and community development department, also puts out a mow bid every year for nuisance properties. So we do a number of properties throughout the community, and then the city clerk will then, with the county assess the properties, those fees and regulations. There are hundreds of assessments related to mowing, court-ordered debris removal, demolitions, with administrative fees across the city. So, yes, these are just 4 of a fraction of
Right.
the properties that have assessments, special assessments against them.
I just wanted to make it clear that this applies to the whole city. This doesn't apply to these particular type of properties.
Right,
Right.
yes.
Okay,
For code enforcement, yep.
thank you.
Okay, let's see. We move on to recommendation for revisions to the Personnel Policy Manual.
This item will be handled by Lana Lanter, the Human Resources Director.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, presented for your review and approval this evening are policy revisions to the City Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual. All of these changes would take effect as of January 1, 2022. And most of these items are housekeeping items, either making revisions to names, phone numbers within the policy, or clarifying changes in policies and procedures that are in place and just making it more clear for the employees to identify. And the 3 changes that are being recommended that are true changes to the policy include Section 11-3, which recognizes the addition of Juneteenth as a federal holiday and identifies eligibility criteria for the city manager holiday that was changed a couple of years ago. And revision for Section 16-13, which is a requested change to the current annual maximum reimbursement from $2,000 to $2,500 for tuition reimbursement. This change was made to reflect increased tuition costs while still adhering to the approved budget allocations for 2022. I'm going to briefly review these changes, and if you have any questions at the end, I'd be more than happy to answer. The first 2 pages are primarily all housekeeping items, so the revisions include the addition of our probation services staff under the city manager department, and it also moves the IT, or information technology division, under the city manager, which is currently housed under the finance department. It removes the designation of the Great and Dare program from the police department, which are no longer active, and addresses some changes in the key city telephone numbers and department fax numbers, and addresses, as you'll notice in the policy report, which will have one more change before it actually goes into place, the mayor and city commission name changes, and we will also update that to reflect the change in the mayor and the mayor pro tem. And a few changes to department heads that have occurred over the last year. And we'll also update the organizational chart to reflect the removal of the Civil Service Commission, which was actually done about 3 or 4 years ago, and to move information services under the assistant city manager and add probation services under that as well. Section 2 is the introduction section, and just again, housekeeping items. Section 2-1, the purpose, will update the revision date to January 1, 2022. And Section 2-4, the maintenance, will just again be a housekeeping item to reflect the fact that we do post all of these changes electronically through our employee self-serve versus sending out paper copies. Section 3-9, other responsibilities, just clarifies again procedure that is currently in place and has been in place. The take-home vehicle, which before was designated by our city manager and authorized for departments outside of public safety, is now designated for public safety personnel only, and department heads are responsible for approving or assigning those vehicles within each of their respective departments. Section 11, the attendance and leave, again addresses the holiday leave with the addition of the federal holiday that became effective June 17th, 2021, adding Juneteenth, and the city manager holiday, which is clarifying the eligibility for that and does follow suit with their current vacation eligibility and makes it available to any employee after they have completed at least 90 days of continuous service. The holiday pay under Section B is a clarification for policy and procedure. It is currently being applied in different manners, so this is just clarifying it moving forward so that it is applied consistently through each of the divisions, and identifies if a shift worker takes the day off on a scheduled shift and how that holiday pay will be applied to them. So it does not charge their vacation leave balance, but it does provide them holiday pay for that day off. The next section, under 11-1, attendance and leave, just identifies the updated FMLA forms will be added at the end of that section to replace the current outdated forms in the personnel manual. And section 16, employee benefits, under 16-3, clarifies again just housekeeping items, the health and dental insurance. Before red change of family status, there are additional qualifying events that can take place throughout the year that would be eligible for a change in status and making changes in enrollment elections, so that just clarifies the verbiage on that. And it does clarify that retiree coverage under health insurance does terminate upon Medicare eligibility at age 65. However, dental and vision does not currently have an age limit applied. And then it removes that the prior decision being made by the employee council prior to any changes for health and dental insurance coverages, but that a meeting or email or correspondence with them will take place to update and address any changes that are made. Section 16-5, the Community Center Pass Program, just clarifies that spouses and dependent children under age 18 will be eligible for the entitled reduced seasonal pass rates. Section 16-7 is primarily just a change in title of that section. It currently reads accident, cancer, and/or intensive care insurance. This will change to voluntary supplemental insurance, as we do have multiple policies in addition to the 3 that are currently titled. The section 16-13 is the change I discussed earlier, and that is the requesting the change from 2,000 annual max to 2,500 annual max per calendar year for tuition reimbursement, and does clarify that the only additional fees outside of tuition that will be considered eligible for reimbursement would be the online course fees. It does kind of take out one step in the fact that it did have submission of completed grades, tuition receipts, et cetera, after the class was completed to their supervisor, who then forwarded it to HR. It takes that middle step out and just has the employee submit it directly to HR.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Section 16-14 is basically being removed, that it has not been in use for probably 7 to 10 years at this point in time. And then Appendix 8, the fleet safety policy, removes the first paragraph and takes out the effective date that it went into place. This is primarily recognizing the change from our insurance carriers. It was addressed as a change due to the change to one beacon. We have now switched back to travelers for our insurance, so that takes out one beacon from the policy. It leaves most of the other policies in place as far as our driver selection and the motor vehicle records check. The only additional change is the driver selection on the next page for new drivers. It does identify that the signed acknowledgement will be required to confirm agreement to personal vehicle insurance obligations for any employees that come on, requiring them to drive their personal vehicles for city-related business. I know that was a quick review, but if there are any questions or clarification needed on any of that, I did just want to clarify that Employee Council did meet on December 1st and review all of these revisions and changes. Everyone was in agreement with that. Some of these were brought up by Employee Council members, and there's others that have been tabled for further review at later meetings.
Okay. Yeah, I have a quick question for you. For the dental, medical, or vision, did those policies, because I thought last year, for the employees change the insurances because of the rates, or did that stay the same?
We did not change any of either the employee contributions other than the rate increase, but we didn't change the amount that the city provided. We did not change plan design. We did not change carriers. So an Employee Council was apprised of that, again, primarily through email correspondence at that point in time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Did my fellow commissioners have any questions for her?
Yeah, sorry. Lana, just real quick, for the tuition reimbursement, do you know on average how many employees are taking advantage of that on a yearly basis?
We usually, and it varies from year to year, but usually between 8 and 12 is a pretty safe number. Again, it wouldn't affect the budget. We have been under budget for the last at least 5 years. So the budgeted amount would not be impacted by the increase in the $500 increase.
So we're thinking this might kind of incentivize more folks to hop on board with that.
Hoping, yes. It also allows, we have a few of the partnerships with the universities that have discounted tuition rates. This also allows them to take 3 full classes throughout the year and get full reimbursement for all 3 classes versus just a spring and fall semester. They can still take a summer semester as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? Okay, then I just need a motion.
I move approval of the revisions as presented to the personnel policy manual.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0.
Thank you.
Passed. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, 2022 cereal malt beverage licenses.
City Clerk Carla Williamson will also handle this item.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the 2022 cereal malt beverage license approval. It's required that the City Commission approve these each year by state statute. And so the cereal malt beverage license, just for any of the new commissioners that may be wondering, the cereal malt beverage is basically the beer, which is separate from the liquor license. So if you're looking at this thinking, I thought a lot more places sold alcohol, this is just for the cereal malt beverage portion of it. So the following 22 establishments made application for renewal of their license for 2022. The police department performed the record checks and approved the applications for renewal. I'll just read through them very quickly. For the off-premise consumption, which means you go there, you buy it, you take it, you drink it, not on the premise. 7-Eleven at 609 Metropolitan, 3 Casey's locations at 206 Spruce, 2004 Spruce, I don't know where I came up with that number, 950 Eisenhower, 2100 South 4th, and then CVS at 930 Limit, Dillon's at 720 Eisenhower, Hometown at 111 North Broadway, K7 Stop, 300 North 4th, Minute Mart, 3122 South 4th, Murphy's USA, 1050 Eisenhower, Price Chopper, 2107 South 4th, Sam's Food Mart, 1031 Metropolitan, Shop Smart, 700 Eisenhower, Star Gas, 788 Spruce, Walgreens, 2900 South 4th, Walmart at 5000 10th Avenue. And then the on-premise consumption, Abe's Place, 5101 10th Avenue, Ava's Island Cafe, 732 Shawnee, Eddie's Grocery, 1101 Spruce, Little Bar, 1431 10th Avenue, New Way, 510 Shawnee, and the Town Pub Restaurant at 1001 Ottawa.
Okay, did my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Question. If a firm some company gets a liquor license, does that automatically include cereal malt beverage?
No,
So that's a separate one.
that's separate. The
And
liquor
Are these
license.
strictly annual?
The cereal malt beverage license are an annual license. If somebody opens a new establishment or decides they want to start selling during the year, they can buy one mid-year, but it expires at the end of the year. So these are always on an annual basis. They're not prorated, should somebody purchase one in the middle of the year. But yes, these are just a cereal malt for the 2022 period.
Well, then I expect to not be able to get a beer when I go to Tenpenny, Luigi's, the 424 Lounge, or Van Thai.
Now, so the cereal malt beverage, it's based off the alcohol, is it?
Cereal malt beverage is essentially what you might call 3-2 beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the legislation was changed in the last few years that allowed, if you have a cereal malt beverage license, you can sell beer up to 6% alcohol by volume. But you cannot sell wine or spirits under a cereal malt beverage license, and you can't serve stronger beers under that. If you want to do any of those things, you have to have a full liquor license, and a full liquor license includes full strong beer and liquor and wine.
And that's renewed every year as well, right?
Well,
They
Or
might
is
be
that-
on.
they might be on a, they're
two-year
two-year.
periods.
Oh,
They're on
two-year,
a
okay.
two-year. They have to,
Okay.
yeah, by the
And
state.
you get those, you get those licenses from the state, and then
Okay,
you bring
right.
those liquor licenses to the city, and then the city does issue a license, but cereal malt beverage is generally regulated at the municipal level and not at the state level.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, I was surprised, I guess I just never really think about it, but at CVS Pharmacy and Walgreens that sells beer. I don't know, it's okay. Okay, I just need a motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the issuance of the 2022 cereal malt beverage licensing as presented.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0.
And, yeah, I'll add another comment, like the reason you don't see a Casey's, for example, get a full liquor license to serve stronger beer or liquor or wine, because state statute prohibits them from selling other items beyond, a certain percentage of the revenues have. So like maybe in a liquor store, you might see some chips or things like that. They're limited in the extent they can sell other things, and so that's why most of these stores, since they sell all sorts of products, only get a cereal malt beverage license.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Waters. Okay, the next one is cancellation of the December 28th, 2021 City Commission meeting.
Madam Mayor and Commission, City Code indicates that the commission holds 2 business meetings per month. So in order to cancel one of those business meetings per month, it takes an act of the commission. Traditionally, the City Commission has canceled the second meeting, regular meeting in December. So what's before you tonight is a motion to cancel the December 28th, 2021 City Commission regular meeting.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Everybody? Okay, need a motion? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Is this also gonna be posted in the Leavenworth Times? I saw where it said it would be announced in, on the city hall doors and on the social media.
We put it on our website. We have the Leavenworth Times here this evening. I'm sure they'll put it in their publication. So, yeah, it'll be announced.
Except that guy right there, Mr. John. Wave your hand.
John Richmeyer.
John
Yeah, oh, I know, John.
Yeah. So we'll get it out to and we'll send out that normal email that we send out every Friday saying it's canceled, and it'll be on our website. And I'm sure Melissa will put it on our social media.
Good, thank you.
Okay, no further questions, I need a motion.
I move that we approve the cancellation of December 28th, 2021 regular meeting of the City Commission.
Second.
Begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. Okay, public hearing. I need a motion to open the public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hingua.
Aye.
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 Okay. Public meeting is open. So now this is what the public hearing for amending the 2021 budget. Mr. Ruby.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commission. The issue before you is to propose amending the 2021 budget, increasing expenditure authority to accommodate unanticipated expenditures for the following funds: the 911 fund, the Business and Technology Park Fund, the Debt Service Fund, the CIP Sales Tax Fund, and the Retail TIF Fund. According to Kansas Statute 79-2929A, municipalities are authorized to amend budgets to spend money not in the original budget as long as it does not require additional property tax levies. In August of 2020, the Commission approved and adopted the 2021 budget establishing the maximum expenditures for the various funds and the amount of property taxes to be levied to provide funding for those expenditures. According to Kansas statutes, funds cannot exceed the expenditure authority without amending the budget. Budget amendments must be made from existing revenues and cannot require additional taxes. Before proposing an amendment to the budget, there must be a notice of public hearing published in the local newspaper at least 10 days prior to the hearing. A notice of the public hearing for amending the 2021 budget was recently published in the Leavenworth Times. So the explanation of the amendments. For the 911 fund, this proposed amendment would add spending authority to the 911 fund. Previously, these funds were transmitted to the county, and now the city is beginning to maintain its own telecommunications systems, and so the city decided to retain those funds for that purpose. The Business and Technology Park, this amendment provides for maintenance at the Business Technology Park, such as mowing, landscaping, watering. The Debt Service Fund, this amendment would increase the 2021 spending authority for the Debt Service Fund to cover transactions related to the bond refunding that was completed in June of 2021. When we refunded the bonds, it saved the city $151,814 in interest. In the CIP Sales Tax Fund, the spending authority for the CIP Sales Tax Fund is to cover the payment for the new aerial truck. We issued the bonds in 2020, but due to problems that we have in actually receiving delivery of the truck, we didn't expend those funds until this year. And so that's why we needed to amend the budget for that. The $764,000 is because during the 2020, in response to the 2020 pandemic and the shutdown, we put some of the capital projects on hold. And so these funds are to cover those projects. And they'll probably be coming back to you within the next year or so to be approved. And then the retail TIF fund, that TIF district generated more sales tax revenue than we originally anticipated during the year. And when it generates those funds, according to the TIF agreement, we need to pay those out. So, did you have any questions?
My fellow commissioners have any questions?
Ruby, yeah, real quick, can you tell me a little bit more, just a little bit more background on the debt service fund? Just because that's the largest increase there, and we were looking at a, $5 million increase across the board. Can you just give me a little bit more background on that? Or?
On the debt service fund, so annually, we issue notes, for example, to cover the infrastructure improvements for the year. The following year, we redeem those notes. And when we do those, we also look at the current outstanding debt to see if there's any that are eligible to be refunded, because if we refund those bonds, sometimes we can save a significant amount of money. And so that's what this situation is. In June, we refunded the 2013A and the 2016A bonds because the interest rate that we got this year was significantly lower than what we had already issued those bonds at.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Do you have any?
Yeah, I do, real quick.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, so
Go for
the
it.
Business and Technology Park piece right here.
Yes.
What exactly is that for again? Paul, I remember you mentioned something about this, but can you just give me a little bit more detail on that?
Okay.
So when the city and the county partnered to create the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park, each entity put in about $4.9 million, equal amounts to create that park. In the course of the construction of the park, there was a significant cost savings due to a redesigned gas line that was generated by Kansas Gas having a better idea of how to get excess capacity. So when we finished that project, there was at that time about $500,000 left in the project fund. And because those were bonded funds, they are restricted to use for the Business and Technology Park. So this amount, this $421,173, with the park having opened in 2018, it's what's left in the business park fund, and it simply needs to be budgeted as an expense so that it can be spent.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, no
for the
problem.
Pressure on that, yep, cool.
Okay, any other comments or any public comments? Then I guess I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengula.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. And looks like I need a motion to consider amendments for the 2021 budget.
Yes, you do. I move,
Read it.
I move approval of the amendments to the 2021 budget as presented.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 5-0. Okay, thank you. Next up is Resolution B-2301, Planners 2, Tenant Write-Off Accounts.
This will be handled by Andrea Cheatham, the housing manager for the Leavenworth Housing Authority.
Good evening, Mayor,
Hi,
Madam,
Andrea.
Commissioners. Planners 2 is currently running 3 accounts of past tenants with uncollectible balances. The balances are due to tenants passing away, going to nursing homes, or just moving out and leaving extensive damages to the units, and we're unable to locate them to collect the balances. So this is just a housekeeping item that HUD requires us to do annually to get those balances off of our rental register.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious, the one that's, like 1,478, was that like a deposit or?
No, that was actually for, she had her son, it was in a 2-bedroom units. We only have like 4 2-bedroom units. And it happened to be one up on the 10th floor where it was her and her son. And their rent was like $700 a month. So that was like 2 months of rent she did not pay.
Oh,
And
okay.
then, yeah.
Okay, great.
Important also to note that these are not city funds, these are federal dollars that
Right.
operate Planters too. So this money would be owed to the federal government, not the city of Leavenworth.
Okay, thank you. Did any of my fellow commissioners have any other questions
No.
for Andrea? Okay, I just need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt.
Anybody?
We gotta get your new commissioners in. I move to approve to adopt the attached resolution deleting uncollectible tenant accounts.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengula.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Resolution B-2302, opioid settlement funding.
Madam Mayor and Commission, I'm going to start on this item. If you do have questions, our city attorney is an expert and has been intimately involved with this process with the League of Municipalities and the Attorney General's office, so he'll be able to answer any and all questions. Kansas is part of a multi-state litigation aimed at holding the producers and distributors of opioids accountable for the negative effects that their drugs have had on the American public. In 2021, the Kansas State Legislature passed House Bill 2079 to govern the distribution of settlement funds. The bill does require 75% of the settlements go to the state and 25% of these funds to be split between municipal governments. And pursuant to legislation, the League of Kansas Municipalities, which we are a member, the Kansas Association of Counties, and the Attorney General's Office are finalizing a required memorandum of understanding governing how the local funds will be split. The resolution you have before you tonight is step 2 that the city must take in order to be a party to those settlement funds if and when they are determined how they'll be split up in the state of Kansas. We have fulfilled step number 1, which was to register the city with the National Opioid Settlement website. And then the second step would be to adopt the resolution attached herein. I have included some correspondence from the Attorney General's office, and also, again, City Attorney Waters is here if you have any questions.
Okay, did my fellow commissioners have any questions on that?
Pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory, I think.
pretty cut and dry. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kramer. Looks like I just needed a motion. I needed a motion. I guess I could motion it.
I move that we approve the resolution related to opioid settlement funding as presented.
Oh,
Seconded.
Okay, start voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is bids, contracts, and agreements. Consider transfer of city-owned lots to Geiger Ready Mix Company, Inc. real estate contract.
Brad Faust, our Director of Public Works, will handle this, and we also do have a representative from Geiger here tonight,
Okay.
after Brian gets through.
Mouse isn't working.
Oh.
It's, you just gotta flip out the.
I can get it.
There you go.
Okay, that's good right there. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. The issue before you this evening is to consider transferring ownership of 2 city-owned lots at the intersection of 3rd and Maple to Geiger Ready Mix Company. Geiger Ready Mix would like to construct additional parking on those 2 lots to provide overflow parking for their employees, space for their trucks and trailers, and provide additional parking for users of Stubby Park. The additional parking would provide safer off-street parking for those wishing to sled down the Stubby Park Hill. The 2 lots in question are shown on your screen and are included in your policy reports. They are lots 9 and 10 of Flackler's addition. For background on these 2 lots, the city did acquire both lots 9 and 10 in a 2009 sheriff's sale for $150 per lot, a total of $300. The reason for the purchase was for the possible future extension of parking for Stubby Park. City staff has the following observations based on our review of the request from Geiger. During certain times of the year, vehicles do park along 3rd Street to access the Stubby Park Hill. The paved section of 3rd Street is fairly narrow with no curb and gutter. Providing a hard surface lot on the east side of 3rd will help improve safety for both the traveling public and for residents using the park. Additional parking for Geiger will reduce the number of Geiger employees that currently park along Maple Street. Geiger plans to use Lot 9, which is highlighted in yellow, the westernmost lot, for employee parking during working hours. And Lot 10 will be combined with some property to the east for truck and equipment parking. During times when the Stubby Park Hill will typically be used for sledding, the majority, if not all, the spaces in Lot 9 should be available for public use. And the city is currently responsible for maintaining those 2 lots. Staff will always be reluctant to recommend the city relinquish ownership of public property without some public purpose being served. With Geiger constructing additional parking and allowing access to the public for Stubby Park, staff feels that public will benefit from Geiger owning these 2 lots. As previously mentioned, the city purchased the lot for a total of $300 in 2009. Transferring the 2 lots to Geiger will eliminate maintenance responsibilities, put these properties back on the tax roll, and provide paved parking for both Geiger as well as the general public. And Representative from Geiger is here this evening. Staff does recommend the commission authorize the mayor to sign the quitclaim deed and the real estate sales contract to transfer ownerships of Lot 9 and 10 of Flackler's addition in the city of Leavenworth to Geiger Ready Mix Company Incorporated.
Okay, no, thank you. Did you have any?
I'm Brian Schwinn, I'm the plant manager in Leavenworth, and we've pretty much outgrown our property down there, so what we need to do is have more parking for our trucks. We've got 30 ready-mix trucks and 4 tractor trailers, and we're trying to get them consolidated rather than all over the place down on our property, and we got employees on the street that we're trying to get off the street, so looking to improve.
Okay, no, great. No, and I think that's great that, during those certain times, you let patrons, use that for Stubby Park. They're using it more now, and who knows when we'll get any snow, but, then they'll be ready to sleigh ride. So, did my commissioners have any questions?
Well, this is adjacent to the Geiger property, so
Right.
it makes sense to me that we turn it over to them.
Right.
Win-win for both parties.
Are we gonna put a crosswalk or something like that from the, lot 9? I believe it's lot 9 is the one on Third.
It actually hasn't been discussed, but that's probably a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah, that and
Look at that.
signage, potentially just, kind of talking about it so folks know they can use it without a problem, so.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, because it's so narrow there anyway, so.
And then, all the maintenance of those 2 lots when they're paved and, Ready Mix's Geiger has taken it over, all maintenance will then revert to, Geiger.
Correct, they'll be owners of the lot.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Schwinn, or? anyone?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, then I just need a motion.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I motion to sign the quitclaim deed and the real estate sales contract over to Geiger.
Second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengula.
Aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next up, consider renewal of city commercial insurance package 2022.
I'll let our city clerk start with this item, and then I believe the city's insurance broker is also here to go over the changes.
Each year, the city, in conjunction with Mike Riley of the Riley Company, we review the renewal and possible bids for coverage for the city's commercial insurance. This year, our current provider, Traveler, provided the renewal quote. We didn't go out for bids across the board because we just went with them last year, and they provided us a phenomenal package. So we just went with them for our quote. Per the summary page that's attached to your policy report, it shows what our total package was for this current year and the quote for the upcoming year. So the quote for the upcoming year, $438,934. That is an increase of $24,966, or approximately 5.5% increase. We did budget a 5% increase for 2022, so this did come in just slightly over that. And I'm going to let Mike get into the nitty-gritty of where some of the increases happened and why they happened, and some of the things that we need to kind of look at going forward that might help some of those things. So I'll let Mike talk about that.
Thank you, Carla. Madam Mayor, members of the commission, thank you for your time tonight. As Carla mentioned, we are recommending a renewal with Travelers Insurance. This is a very extensive property and casualty insurance program. I promise Carla no more than an hour-long dissertation into the insurance world. But your city attorney will answer any questions if you have. But having said that, as Carla mentioned, we did in fact change the insurance program at this time last year to Travelers Insurance away from Intact, who is also One Beacon Insurance. Over the past 15 or 18 years, we've had long-standing relationships with really 2 insurance carriers. Our previous carrier was in fact Travelers. We had about a 10 or 12-year relationship with them. And then we had Intact Insurance, One Beacon, for about a 6 or 7 year stint as well. We made the recommendation to switch to Travelers last year, quite honestly, because they came back into the game very strong, both from a premium perspective and a coverage perspective, saving the city almost about $100,000 last year in the renewal. So anytime we do that in the insurance world, our concern is obviously what happens in year 2. So we're actually very pleased to present a 6% increase. Trend right now in our world, the property and casualty world, is about 18 to 22% across the board. It really depends upon the class codes of the business. Public entity being one where it's somewhat volatile right now, simply because there's very few carriers that will write the entire programs for public entity. When you look back this past year, we have had, as an industry, some catastrophic losses, as we always do. When you think back to Hurricane Ida, the freezing that took place in Texas this past year that we all somewhat forget about, and the civil unrest that happened actually in 2020. Those are all insurance claims that affect our industry. It may not affect us locally, but as an industry, we're all paying for those claims. And so Actually having a 6% increase is well below market trend, even though it's a little higher than what we wanted. We were very happy with what Travelers came back with. As Carla mentioned, a couple things are driving that. First of all, some employee count is driving the actual increase this year, both from a professional standpoint, along with some of the auto activity that we've had. So when I looked at your account over the past year and really over the past few years, the bulk of any losses that we have paid have been in the auto line of business. So not surprising, recognizing the number of vehicles that are on the street every day with the city. You're going to have claims. So really a very clean account, nothing too earth-shaking, but anything that we have seen some increase in the auto activity. I am happy to get into the details of the program, but as Carla mentioned, and I think I mentioned, it is a very extensive program. We meet with Carla and staff, and they do a great job of keeping us updated throughout the year of city activities. And then, of course, we follow what you all are trying to do as well. But we encompass and protect all of the property, all of the equipment that the city owns and operates, and all of the autos, obviously, that the city own and operate. And then from a liability perspective, we protect the city when it comes to things like your general liability, just protecting it from all the properties that you own, public official liability, protecting you and all the boards and commissions that are acting in the city's best interest. Our law enforcement liability is a big piece of our program. Public entity employment practices liability is also a big piece, and I know I'm throwing a lot of insurance jargon out here. And then we have things like cyber liability that we're protecting the city on. So it's all encompassing, it's very in-depth. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. We haven't made a lot of changes to the program year over year. Slight increases in some property values. We always adjust those every year. And as Carla mentioned, there are some things in the industry right now that are really kind of moving specifically in the lines of like the cyber liability. And I mentioned one thing to Carla, I know the city is considering it, but under our cyber liability, we actually had to pull back on some of the limits that were offered from Travelers. So we're not getting as much limit this year as we did in the previous year, simply because the city does not have the multi-factor authentication for electronic payments. So I know that is being discussed, that's being looked at, and probably implemented in 2022, it sounds like, at which time we believe we can go back and get that additional limit. So we did pull back in one line of coverage, the amount of insurance that we're providing the city, but it was really due to that. That has been the one line of business, you've probably read about it, you've certainly heard about it. Cyber liability and the losses associated with cyber liability have quickly become one of the industry's largest lines of losses. So that multi-factor authentication is a big piece of getting more limit and keeping your premiums as low as possible. So with that, I'll answer any questions. Certainly insurance is a unique product to a lot of people. But I'm happy to go as in-depth as you'd like me to.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mayor. Just the commercial general liability has gone down a little bit, but the public officials E&O has gone up quite a bit. Why has the public officials gone up that much?
I will tell you again, it's really trend in the industry. What we're seeing, and again, if you think back of what's happened over the past few years, the public official liability is at one of those lines of coverage that is just seeing more claim activity. And that's quite honestly, Madam Commissioner, is really the only reason. It's not anything the city of Leavenworth has experienced. It's probably more Travelers' book of business. Their rates in that particular line of the coverage has changed.
More people are suing their elected officials.
There you go.
Really? Okay.
Sure. Better answer.
Happy 2022, yeah.
Better answer.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's good. Thank you.
What is the umbrella excess liability?
So umbrella excess liability, if you think about it, it really is an umbrella policy that goes over all of the other liability policies, okay? So take your auto liability, for instance. I believe we have $1 million of auto liability coverage for the city right now. If there was an accident that we were involved with that exhausted that $1 million limit, we have another $1 million policy that covers you for that particular claim, okay? Now, there are tort laws that come into play for municipalities, but certainly things like punitive damages and everything can raise those limits.
Yeah. Yeah, fine.
And anything driving the crime piece right here, I mean, it's not a lot, it's just doubled, you know, anything you can share on that?
The crime coverage? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, Mr. Commissioner. Some very basic coverage here under the crime. We've got some employee theft coverage of $100,000. That really is just miscellaneous stock and different things that you might have rolling around, along with money and securities. Forgery and alteration of checks, $25,000. Again, money inside any of your locations and outside while being transported. We've got $25,000 of coverage and 10 on the outside. And then computer fraud of $50,000. So,
And I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't know if there's anything specifically that drove that increase this year, since it's like 50%.
On the crime? Mm-hmm. No, again, I would probably push you more towards, again, just book of business, claims. You'll see individual lines within the program ebb and flow throughout the years, depending on trend and book of business that Travelers has. So when you look at it, $646 last year versus $1,200, it's a 100% increase, but it's pretty small dollars in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I think overall it's not too bad. I would keep it right close to 5%.
Oh, right, yeah.
Considering everything that's going on.
Make a quick fiscal note, it did go over the budgeted amount, however, the city's health insurance, which we have to budget before we get our rates finalized, did come in below, and so, we won't have to, make any budget changes. The decrease or the small savings in health insurance does cover the increase in our commercial insurance.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? Any other? Okay, then I just need a motion.
I move to approve the 2022 commercial insurance package with Travelers in the amount not to exceed $438,934.
Second.
Begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 5-0. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, now we go to the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the claims for November the 20th, 2021 through December 10th, 2021, in the amount of $962,144.06. Net amount for longevity pay effective November 26, 2021, in the amount of $41,029.67, and ARPA premium pay effective November 26, 2021, in the amount of $149,717.46, and payroll number 24 effective December the 3rd, 2021, in the amount of $351,745.93. No police and fire pension.
Good job.
God, it's on you now, Greg.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, begin voting with Commissioner Hengler.
Aye.
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 Did he say aye?
Did you say
Oh, aye.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
5-0. Okay. So, we're done with the agenda, but I'll just go around for other comments. Did, you have any comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a quick note, in speaking to my Public Works Director today, we are anticipating some high wind events tomorrow. So he has assured me that the chainsaws have been serviced. I think they even purchased some new chains. And same with the Parks and Recreation crew, so we will be ready to handle any issues that arise from the windstorm. Happy to announce that Doherty Park is complete. That delay was really the shipment of the containers and the equipment, and then we had some issues with the ADA ramps. We had to have those torn out and re-poured. We wanted to make sure everything was right. So, we've had some really good weather. Normally, it's a bad time to open a park in the middle of December, but hopefully the children in that area can really enjoy that park and then fully enjoy it next year. I did have one more quick thing. I'm going to end on a bit of a sad note, and I'm going to embarrass somebody in this room. For anyone who has watched the city commission meetings for the past 6 years, you've seen few faces over and over and over, and one of those is Carla Williamson, our city clerk. Tonight is Carla's last commission meeting, and she's leaving the city in a few weeks. City clerk might be the most misunderstood job in local government. Carla has been an indispensable member of the city's leadership team, handling insurance, licensing, bond documents, contracts, bids, meetings of the governing body, and countless other duties. Carla oversaw the complete recodification of the city's code of ordinances in 2020, which was a monumental task, and I wanted to thank her for getting that done before she left. I want to thank her for her service to the city of Leavenworth, and for me personally, I'd like to thank her for her wise counsel and friendship. Carla will miss you and wish you all the best.
Speak.
People don't know, but Carla's got to deal with us and deal with the staff and deal with the public and deal with everybody. It's a tough job you have. I appreciate you.
I enjoyed it.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Miss it.
Thank you, thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Hinckley, did you have anything?
Just glad to be here.
December the 19th, this upcoming Sunday, please bring your children out to Dollar General store located at 400 Spruce Street, Leavenworth, Kansas at 2 p.m. Santa Claus and Shorty Claus will be giving out free toys to the kids in the queens. Shorty Claus from the South Pole, Santa Claus the brother. Free event, take pictures with Santa Claus, but come out and have some fun.
Okay, Commissioner Bowden?
I just want to say welcome to the new mayor.
Thank you, thank you.
And look forward to working with you. And to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a very blessed holiday and New Year.
And I would like to welcome our new mayor as well, and thank you, Nancy, for all the time you spent in a couple of terms, and I appreciated being a citizen here. So, yeah, I definitely wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and looking forward to a great 2022.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, yeah, ditto, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'm excited with this crew. We're really energized, so I think we're gonna have a good time and get a lot of really good things accomplished for the citizens of Leavenworth. So on that note, I just need a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Hing, let's start with you.
Aye.
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 Aye.